We're back, and we're joined by businessman, philanthropist, and candidate for governor of California, Stephen Cloobeck. Stephen is also the author of the forthcoming book, Facing Hard Truths: How Americans Can Get Real, Pull Together, and Turn Our Country Round. And hopefully he can tell us the secret of how to do that right now, because we need it.
We do.
Stephen, welcome.
Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to just dive in there because you are known to some as the Donald Trump of the Democrats. What does that mean? And how does that sit with you?
Well,
do you wear that proudly? What does that mean?
I know him. We played in the sandbox of business together. We're both from the hospitality business. We both did reality TV.
Yes.
Undercover Boss and The Apprentice. And they're very similar, actually. They have bravado, and we interact with our team. But they both end up in tears. Both shows end up in tears. Except in Undercover Boss, they're happy tears. And his show, you're fired. We create value. He's a wrecking ball. He destroys value.
Tell us about your decision-making process, because your life is very good. You're a very wealthy person. You have every opportunity at your fingertips. Why on God's green earth would you say yes to and throw your hat in the ring?
It's interesting. Look, I interviewed every candidate as a donor. And I'm like, this is the best we got? You're kidding me, right? So I started to do my due diligence, my homework on the great state of California, the country of California. I grew up here, and I'm like, what happened to this beautiful place that gave me all these aspirational goals? I mean, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. Modest means, but got a great education. I dreamed of living over the hill. I lived in the San Fernando Valley and dreamed of living in Beverly Hills. And after I sold my company, Hilton owns it today. I'm very proud of that. I wanted to live my dream, and I came back to a state that's just a failed social experiment. And so I did get involved, and I did my homework, and I found out there's solutions.
The Democrats have had control of California, all aspects of California, for some time now. What can you bring to it that the current team haven't? What has Governor Newsom done wrong? And then let's talk about Kamala, because obviously she's the biggest candidate in the race, assuming she's going to run.
Well, when I speak, I'm a Californian, and I bring business leadership to the table, and the others have not signed the front of a check. They don't know what it's like to think of unintended consequences. They don't understand that everyone in California is a customer, and they should receive equal or greater value. Look, there's no red carpet with me, no hair gel, no word salad. We are in this predicament of this failed social experiment because the leaders have brought us here. Why would we continue to elect those that have brought us here? We're going to have to find new to actually solve the problems. And I come to the table with solutions, proven solutions.
We are having a current lived experience of being governed in some ways, or having our daily lives affected by the actions of billionaires getting involved in politics. You're very far removed from experiencing an affordability crisis. Can you just sort of enumerate the ways in which you would comfort someone who was looking, who was undecided?
Well, I don't want you to comfort anybody. I'm just going to hop in over Sam here. Sure. But I do want your solutions for what you would do.
Well, thank you. Those are good questions. Look, when I was a young boy, I was a busboy, waiter, dishwasher, 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm built to serve. I come from the service business. I roll up my sleeves. I don't believe in red carpets. I'd rather create
But what does
leaders.
that mean? I get all that, but you're talking in political cliches now. What are the actual steps you would take to alleviate homelessness in the big democratic cities? What would you actually do?
Well, let's talk about California's not open for business. It's not workable, livable, and affordable. I fixed the most broken of companies, 10 to be exact. And nobody said they could be fixed. We've got great exports of our state. People have forgotten about our great exports. Agriculture, tourism and travel, entertainment, innovation, manufacturing, education, and we can grow our GDP from this and have performance and results at the government level. The California Department of Performance and Results, also known as CPR, which the state needs.
So why don't we take the biggest industry of that, which is obviously Hollywood and the extraordinary export, both culturally and financially. Would you bring Hollywood back to Hollywood? I mean, right now, and I've certainly gone through this, people make shows elsewhere.
That's my line. You stole my line. I'll bring Hollywood back to Hollywood. So when you look at Hollywood, let's just look at the landscape, the due diligence of this landscape. We lost Hollywood. 40% of the sound stages are empty. The CapEx is already here. There's no CapEx required. It's an export. So let's do the comparative analysis to the incentives that are given in other places. Around the world, let's pick Georgia, which is spoken about a lot. Georgia,
Atlanta. Yep.
Georgia as in the state, not the country.
Yep.
$563 billion GDP, $1.3 billion in incentives given. If you do a comparative analysis to California, with our $4.1 trillion GDP, we could give incentives up to $9 billion with no asterisks and keep it simple. Because right now, it's complicated with regulation. You can't do documentaries. You can't do unscripted. And this all trickles down to those working in the industry, electricians, grips, producers, actors. They want to stay home. They want to be home. They're missing their families. We need to take back Hollywood, bring back Hollywood to Hollywood and own it. We need to be on the offense. And the leadership that we've had in the past, Joanna, they've been on defense. I believe in offense, not defense.
I mean, speaking of Hollywood, like your own personal life is kind of the stuff of, it is the stuff of Vanity Fair profiles. Do you think that people will accept you as a real candidate for the governorship, given all that is known about your personal life? You live very boldly.
Yeah, sure, because everything about me is known. I don't get extorted, and you won't get extorted on my watch. I fight, and I'll fight for California. I mean, those articles, by the way, you're not going to believe it, but I actually had them written. Mm-hmm. They weren't written about me. I actually did it. You speak with Bill Cohen. You may know him. He's became a friend. I got tagged. Right. I own it.
So how do we know? So you're talking about a relationship you had with a young woman who was an OnlyFans star. You gave her a lot of gifts, and then it turned out she'd been shooting porno movies in your fabulous homes. It ended in a very ugly way, as far as I can see, and it showed a lapse of judgment. If I'm a voter in California, why would I assume?
I don't, Joanna, I don't know if it's a lapse of judgment or being naive to the dating scene. I mean, I didn't know what Discord, Reddit was to do my due diligence. I could have found out that wasn't even her real name. Her name was something else, and now she's changed her name a third time.
Well, it ended in a very ugly legal battle, right?
Well, actually, it ended in an apology letter, which I'm happy to read to you. It ended in all of the gifts being returned.
Well, that's good, because you spent a lot of money.
And me not paying one penny to anybody and fighting the fight, because I fight the fight, I don't get extorted. Nobody should on my watch.
All right, so what did you learn from that experience?
What I learned is there's a lot of grifters and cons out there.
I guess speaking of grifters, what are your interactions with Donald Trump like? I mean, we have a situation now, like, how are you going to go head-to-head with someone who you've interacted with in the past who wants to attach strings to something as seemingly as non-political as like LA wildfire assistance?
That's a very good question, because I watched that horrifying U-shaped table rip down, tear down of Mayor Bass and Congressman Sherman. And if I was there at that table, I would have said, Mr. President, we know each other. I know you say that everyone go back to their home tonight, tomorrow, but you know that's not true. Because guess what? FEMA's got to come in and certify that every asset is safe. And you know what? That's on you. So when you get that done, Mr. President, come back to us and let us know when it's done. And then the folks can either choose the Army Corps of Engineers to clean up their site for free, or it's going to cost $200,000 approximately to do it on their own, and that's on them. But when you get it done together with us, work together, because California is a bully pulpit. Okay, you need us as much as we need you, and let's respect each other. And that's how I would handle it. And I've had many interactions with him in the past, and we have respect for one another, but frankly, I'm not intimidated.
You
Not
are
at all.
golf buddies with Barack Obama by way of example. Does he have any impulse to come out of hiding and tell us what to do? We're all pretty lost.
What? I don't know
No,
that
I'm
he
sure.
wants to. I was talking to James Carville this morning. We're fans of one another. And, look, we should have had a contested convention if my dear adopted father was alive. Harry would have really made that happen. And I think from what I hear, Barack wanted that to happen too. There's not enough voice in the heart center of our party today.
So Kamala Harris is supposed to be certainly mulling over a run for governor, and obviously she has a much higher profile than you do. How would you take her on? What are her weaknesses for governor?
Good question. The last time I spoke to her was May 28th, 2019. She called me and asked me whether or not I would assist her in her run for office. She misjudged that day because it was the 1-year anniversary of my father's death, my dearest friend, Sheldon. And I wasn't in a very good mood. And I basically told her she wasn't ready for prime time. She hung up on me. That was the last time I talked to her. When you blow through $1.3 billion in 90 days, people don't forget they blew through, not understanding tabletop issues, economy and immigration, 2 very important issues. They were just tone deaf. I mean, I met with Waltz, and the guy didn't even understand balance sheet and income statement. Nice guy. But we can't apologize for success in our party. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat. Bill Clinton taught me a lot of great things, and Harry Reid did also. I mean, Democrats can govern. Bill Clinton balanced the budget. He also efficiently created what was called reinventing government. Al Gore facilitated 400,000 jobs being stripped from our federal government. So Democrats can lead and govern. We just need to find our heart center again. We need some balance. We need some bravado.
Have you spent much time with Daniel Lurie, the new mayor of San Francisco? Because he seems to be re-exciting the city. Certainly the city seems cleaner. It seems that the business community have got more involved because they feel he understands them.
I was in San Francisco. I have not. I look forward to meeting him, and I know we're trying to schedule it. I was in San Francisco last week, Oakland and Palo Alto. And the city is much cleaner. It's got a great vibe. It's got some swag coming back to it. And it's palpable. It is palpable. So, let's not poo-poo business leadership. Just because I've done well doesn't mean that I don't have compassion and warmth for people, because I'm in the people business. I roll up my sleeves. No red carpet for me. I'm here to serve.
I don't think we were poo-pooing business leadership. I think business leadership is essential, especially in big cities and running states. Things are complicated and you need people who can get things done and who are used to being held accountable, which frequently politicians aren't. Well, now where am I going with this, Sam? Please help me out here. I'm just sort of defending because I'm a big believer in getting business involved in politics.
100%. But I think that, there is a class of people who are like kind of political dilettantes, like newcomers who have an understanding of business, but don't have an understanding necessarily of governance, which is different, which is actually of public service. Like that's actually kind of rare in the business world. So I do think that there's a suspicion. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's natural.
Call me a unicorn, because I've legislated and worked with Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Borders, Senate, House, Treasury, Commerce, Interior, and State Department, changing visa policy in China and Brazil. Do you have a global entry card?
Yes. Happily.
I was involved in that.
Well,
I got
good
our
job. Thank
officers
you.
to sit down with me and be polite when people entered the United States. And I said, we're going to spend close to $300 million marketing the United States after the lost decade of travel. Can the officers smile and say, welcome to the United States, please? And when they leave, did you have a good time? Please come back soon. Disneyland-esque. And we did it. So solutions are possible. I bring uniqueness to the table.
And you have a song. You already have a song.
Old school theme song. Jeff Ross.
Seriously.
Jeff Ross. I think you know Jeff.
Stephen Cloobeck, take our hand, lead us to the promised land. California, California, get a clue. Stephen Cloobeck is the guy for you.
Yes.
He wrote the song. I modified it, but he wrote it and gave it to me as a gift over the holidays.
It's very good. It's very good. You know what? I clicked on it and I was like, this is not gonna be good. And that actually was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I just signed a deal with iHeartRadio to launch my podcast called Hard Truths with Stephen J. Cloobeck. And our guest list is filling up quick. We're starting at the beginning of May. The book launches in June, which is done by Disrupted Books, West Wing Writers. Very proud of this book. Clinton read it, loved it. Cory Booker, a dear friend of mine, my little shadow, my little brother. He and I are fighters in arms. I have a lot of dear friends. Zac Efron is my adopted son.
A lot of adoptions going on here.
Well, this was great. I want to thank you so much for talking to us today. Do you have, wait. Go.
Do we?
Joanna has one.
I think I want to take you up on your offer of reading the apology letter you got back from your treacherous girlfriend.
I honestly thought that you were going to say, I would like to be adopted by you.
Well, I would love
That's
to
what
be
I thought the
adopted by you.
question was.
I'm enthusiastic, but you offered to read us the apology letter, so I'm going to take you up on the offer.
Well, I'm going to have to grab my glasses.
And then I'll take you up on the adoption. Because if there's an offer on the table, I'm perfectly,
It says, Dear Stephen, I'm so sorry for the emotional pain I caused you. I'm sorry for hurting your heart. I am sorry I disappointed you and could not live up to who you thought I could be. Thank you for pushing me to be a better me. Thanks to you, I have learned that material things do not bring happiness. I hope you find better than me, and I hope for your happiness in the future. Large XO, Stephanie.
Wow, well, that's an apology letter. Thank you for doing that.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm as transparent come. Frank Luntz told me I'm too candid.
Well, I think it's very appealing in a world where everything is happening on X now. So, okay, final question then. How do you combat something like X? Because when Bill Clinton was running, and you pointed to him being a good president and balancing the books, this was all before social media. And anybody in politics now will tell you it's so much harder in social media, and certainly much harder with something like X running against you. How do you counteract that?
Well, we've got TikTok, Instagram, playing the social media. Look, there's an advantage of doing reality TV. Because it's real, it's candid, it's unscripted, which is who I am. I'm authentic, I am decisive, but I come with warmth and compassion. And, we're looking for the spark. And hopefully we do get that spark because I can actually drive the car without training wheels day one. And I don't believe the other candidates can. I come with very different attributes in addition to my business success. And I'm not afraid, I've got brass balls.
Well, please say hi to Jeff Ross for me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
And we will be tracking you, and we hope that you'll come back on again.
I would love that. Thank you.
Good. We want a progress report. And good luck with your book.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.